All right, well, welcome everybody. My name is Rick Utzer here with AirgunWeb, your home for old school airgun reviews, and where we tell you the facts, not fluff. Yeah, and we also do maintenance videos, I guess. Yeah, we're going to be working today with the Umarex ReadyAir. Now, I actually did the original maintenance video for them back when they launched this product, but it's been a while, and mine needs to be serviced. So I figured we'd walk through the process, kind of talk about when do you know you need to service your compressor, and then how do you do it. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's, first of all, let's get our tools out. I think we're going to need some of these metric, no, we need metrics. We've got our kit. So if you've got the ReadyAir, one of the cool things about this product was that it was designed from the get-go for you to be able to rebuild it. I think that's super cool. But let's talk about how you know you need to rebuild it. Back when I did the first video, and I did some videos on getting set up, how to use it, that kind of thing. One of the things you want to do is you actually want to make sure that you get a baseline of what your compressor is doing. So it ships with a little test plug, and we've got the bleeder here in the back. If we run this, okay, we've got PSI set to 3000 PSI. If I hit start, it's going to start running. It's going to start building air. Now, if you know that when you got this, it took so many seconds to get to 3000, and you're just like, gosh, is it taking longer than it used to? And you run a test and it is taking longer, then you know it's time to rebuild the compressor. Now, this unit actually is not building pressure at all. So we hit 500 PSI and we're dead as a doornail. So we definitely need to rebuild it. Let me show you how I know this is what's happening. So we've got our pressure here, our set pressure there. I'm going to hit go. It's loud, forgive the noise, but let's see what happens here. Okay, so what we have here is it did not get past 500 PSI. So that tells me we need to do a service, which is no big deal. We're going to pull this part off. We've got all our bits and pieces here. So we'll go through what each of these are, how they work in the system. Yeah, we'll just get to it. I may need some other bits and pieces, and if so, we'll hunt them up. I've got a whole shop in here, so we'll be all right. All right, so let's go through our parts here. There's different size O-rings. They're all color-coded, which are very, very cool. Makes things very easy. There's our piston seal or piston ring. There's our red O-rings, green O-rings, more piston rings, and other. There's red and orange, and then we have our filter. Okay. Now, the manual. Make sure you don't lose your manual. I can't find my manual, but I have done this a few times, so we're going to walk through it. But when you get yours, this is all very clearly laid out in your manual, so don't lose your manual. Was not able to find one online. Maybe I'll reach out to Umarex and say, hey, can I get a copy of the manual, and we can post it or get it out there. First thing we need to do is let's go ahead and take our head off. Okay, so this little rubber piece is going to come up with the compressor head. Not a big deal. We've got some dust and some stuff in there. Let's go ahead and blow out the crud. All right, now, so this is the big dude right here. This is what we've got to work with. We've got to swap this out. This whole rig here is essentially an air intake and a heat sink. So this is a big air intake heat sink. We're going to try to remember that the air intake was towards the handle. when we put this back together. So we've got some Allen screws to take out here. Okay, I'm going to try and keep these oriented in the way they came out. I don't know if that's important or not, but we're just going to try to keep them straight. And I am doing sort of like cross loosening, and I'll do cross tightening so that we don't pinch any one way or the other. Okay. Here we've got some of our first O-rings. And we'll inspect these to see if there's anything in here that looks like kind of got away from us. So that's coming out. There's our first screw with an O-ring. And our next screw with an O-ring. This one looks like, yeah, this one looks definitely like it's had it. Okay, so if we take a look at that, that guy looks like it's had a bad day. So that could have been the reason why we were leaking. We'll just set that aside. See how these look. This one looks good. This one also looks good. Okay, all right, so we had one that looks pretty awful. So we'll set that aside. And that's going to get these guys, 101s are going to go with those, okay? All right, so now we're going to pull this out. Come on now. There it is. Okay. All right, now here, oh yeah, she's dirty. We have our green O-rings that are, let's see, this was, how are we going to do this? Okay, we're going to go like that with this. So let's take a look at this. We're going to set this aside like that and try and remember how it came out. So we can see we definitely have some wear and tear here on all of this. Let's see if we get a help here. Okay, so we have some definitely used up O-rings here, okay? And so we have got to clean this up, and I'm trying to remember the orientation again. I don't think it matters, but just to be safe, I'm going to try and remember the orientation that all of this came out of, so it goes back together the way it came out. Okay, all right. Okay, well this is interesting because I went and looked up my original video, and this particular compressor is one that I got from Umarex, different than the one I did the rebuild on because that was a loaner that went out. But it didn't make sense to me why they didn't have the right number of O-rings. Well, these aren't supposed to be green. So for whatever reason, these are actually, the red O-rings go here, not the green ones. So I don't know what happened there in the assembly, but this is supposed to have the red O-rings. So we do have the right number of green O-rings. And the reason I know that is because the green O-rings are up in here. So we're going to have to get a screwdriver. There's a little check valve and a little spring in here, so we have to be super careful. Okay, so this is going to allow us to take this apart. And there's a little check valve. There should be a little ball in there. All right, so we're going to set that down. And I definitely got some use out of this this rig before it let go on me. You can see it's absolutely wore out, which the whole point of us doing this video is to demonstrate how we can rebuild it. Now here's where our green O-rings come into play. So this little guy here is what gets the 103. So we'll have those. We're going to rebuild this first, and let's see. Okay, we're going to keep that spring in that ball, and we've got a green O-ring that goes up in there. All right, so there's our first sort of piston ring right here. Okay, so we have in here our 2 green O-rings, so that's where these ride. They're going to go inside this rig. So we've got this we can set aside. We've got number 39, we've got number 40. Now 40 is this guy right here, so we're going to replace this right here. All right, so we'll replace 40, 39. 39 gets the 2 green O-rings, and we'll reassemble this all back together. But before we do, let's just give it a quick clean, because this gets kind of grungy up inside there. Okay. All right, so we've got to take this piston ring off as well. Okay. So we've got this, we've got these 2. Now this one is going to mount down in this way with the 2 green O-rings going in from the top. So it's important that you remember the process and the direction all these things go, because if you don't, your compressor won't work. All right, so we've got our, well, hopefully, it's running away. Doggone it. There. Okay, how's that look? Still looking okay? All right. All right, so we've got our green O-rings. We've got our, we don't want pieces to fall in there, so we're going to cover this up. That's why we're doing that. We need a 40 first. We've got 2 40s. All right. We're going to go here. So snap right into that little groove there, just like that. All right, boom. Beautiful. We've got our new piston ring there, which is going to go slide down. And I have given up trying to remember orientation now. That was something I was hoping to do, but that is long gone. And now we've got our 2 green O-rings, which are going to go down in here. All right. Okay. That will be actually pressed into place once we get the rest of the parts going in there. We're going to just see if we can get it started, get those down in there, and then when we put the other cap on, it'll press those in the rest of the way. Okay, and it's getting there. We don't want to damage that. Okay, so we've got our end cap, we've got our other O-ring, our piston ring. So now we put in our ball check valve, our spring, right? And now we're going to add our end cap, and we can add our last piston ring here in a minute. All right, so now as we screw this in, it compresses our green O-rings down in there. So we have effectively rebuilt the piston here. Okay. So now we just essentially reassemble this. We go back the other direction. So it's actually really simple. We're going to use our red O-rings. Okay. Get these out. Static electricity is winning here. Come on out. There we are. Okay. Okay. There we got them. All right, so these guys here, they're going to go back with our other kit. By the way, these kits are readily available, which is really cool. So you can pick up a couple kits and you're good to go, which is awesome. Right? And we could always rebuild your compressor. Now, we're going to go ahead and replace the red O-rings on our, I don't know what these are called, but we'll replace our O-rings here. All right. Good deal. I'm liking it. Let's just make sure they're all down on there the way we need them to be. Like it. All our junky, yucky parts. Yeah, I don't know why it had those green ones in there. Those were obviously the wrong ones. That's interesting. Interesting. Okay, now we're going to very slowly get this seated. Beautiful thing about this is that it has, it's beveled, so that as you gently, and I say gently, get this seated, it compresses the piston rings so that they don't get discombobulated. If you've ever tried to put piston rings like on some of the other compressors, some of the cage compressors, whew, that could be a whole challenge. But these go in nice, just like that. Man, that is in there. We're going to get these to drop down, and then we are on it, just like that. Now, we need to replace these O-rings. Okay, so these are 101. Just like this and this. Again, this is oilless, waterless, okay, so you don't need to lube any of this stuff. That's really cool. All right, we'll go ahead and get these started. Okay. All right. And then we just got to replace this guy, which is having to replace this guy. I really don't like the way this works, but we'll make it work. Then we get to test it. Will it make air? I hope so. Okay. Okay, just snug them down. Yeah, this is working great. All right, just another little quick. Oh, that's good to go. Now, we've got this last one. So we'll go ahead and clean it out. Looks good. Again, this is the intake flapper. Let's get this down here. And I think what we'll do is we'll get it seated and mounted, and then we'll work to replace this guy. Now, I have found that it does make a difference to make sure that you keep these straight. Sometimes they sort of like want to go back where they came out of. So just to save yourself a little bit of headache, I would recommend you keep track of where these came out of so that they go back. Makes it a little bit easier when you're lining things up, like I'm dealing with now. There we go. Oh yeah. Okay, now we're not going to tighten one down too tight. We'll just get them snugged up, and then we'll do our cross pattern so that we don't go too much on any one side. And I haven't put any real tension on these yet, just getting them where they're flush. Okay, that's that one. That's that one. That's that one. And that's that one. Just give another quick check. Good, 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 and good. Now let's see if I can get this to work. This is designed to help it not vibrate itself to pieces. So we sort of want to get that. Oh, this is going in easy. I love it. Take back what I said. Snap it into place nicely. Actually, let me do the handle side first, and that'll be a little bit easier to deal with. Okay. There it is. All right. Yeah. This way helps deal with vibrations and just helps it run, hopefully, better. I'm gonna have to rotate it. I was trying not to, but we'll do it. I'm gonna get all of these old yucky bits over here. We'll take some pictures of those when we're done here. We are very close to seeing if we were successful in our rebuild. All right, guys, so we went from a compressor that wasn't working to now we have a compressor that is working, and I think that's stinking cool. How long did it take? About 30 minutes. So from non-functional to functional in 30 minutes with a $25 repair kit. We needed no specialized tools. We needed some Allen wrenches. Maybe like an O-ring pick might have been useful. I just used a pocket knife. But yeah, I mean, this was really, really straightforward. Anybody can do this. You guys watched me do it. It was really very simple. And again, just take it apart, replace the parts, put it back together, and you are up and going. And I think that is just really awesome. Guys, if you like these kinds of videos, let us know. We'll try to do more of them. My name is Rick User here with AirgunWeb. You're home for old school airgun reviews where we tell you the facts, not fluff. Thanks for watching.